just was going to ask you, were you surprised when Skip wanted to come down and talk to you and meet up with you and spend a day with you in Florida?
Oh, yeah. That was pretty cool. I didn't know you knew that, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Word got around, I guess.
Yeah. He went and saw kind of what he considers the leaders.
Yeah.
Of his team.
Yeah.
And to be put in that category as well is going to be interesting.
No, it means a lot seeing them. Yeah, I think you see that investment, especially during the off season. Everybody's got their own time. It's basically the farthest flight you can get from Seattle. So it says a lot that I'm all the way out there, and I do all kinds of weird stuff, as most people know in my training with the water balls and stuff like that. But he was there, like talking to the guy that runs it and trying to understand all this stuff. And I think just also, going out to get lunch, just trying to understand and be invested in his players. That means a lot to me. I'm sure the other guys as well.
Not that he wasn't invested in you before, but did it also kind of feel like, okay, I've established myself. Major league managers coming down and seeing me, talk to me, respecting your voice.
Yeah.
Kind of come along a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Getting a few years in now, and you see guys like Robbie who meant so much to this team and had that leadership role, and then he steps away. Of course, we still have Castillo, but with the younger pitchers as well, I'm starting to see myself as a little bit older, and it means a lot that he would come out and also view me that way, or that's what it seems like at least. So it means a lot, yeah.
The big part of what I think he wanted to come down to is talk to you guys about the direction the team was going and kind of opening up and providing some clarity. When the offseason started and there was all this stuff swirling around the Mariners in the days and weeks after the season ended, not in the way you didn't want, what was your impression of it all? I mean, were you frustrated? You're seeing guys, get traded?
Yeah.
Did you think to yourself, hey, what the hell is going on here?
I think it's probably a little different for everybody. I think there's a little bit of confusion probably at first. It wasn't really just a ton of frustration. It was just kind of like you said, everybody wants to know the direction that the team's going in. And then he actually called me kind of early into the offseason, and I think the other players as well, and just kind of giving a little bit of light to that direction and what the view is and what we're trying to do here. And it meant a ton to me. Of course, it meant a lot when he came out, but just calling us and kind of keeping us in the know, especially in a time like that where we're a couple weeks out of or past being one game removed from the playoffs or whatever it was. So it seems like we're really trying to get on the same page now and all get going in the same direction.
Yeah, because sometimes teams, and even in the past, there might not have been that transparency. Is, hey, look, this is why we're doing what we're doing here, and this is ultimately where we want to go. That's got to be somewhat comforting at least.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I see it like they don't really owe me anything, or the other, like they don't have to tell us or keep us in. That's kind of like we do our job, they do theirs. And I think some organizations might be ran that way, but it seems like, especially right now, that Skip, the front office, the players, everybody's trying to get tied in together on the same page and getting in the same direction. And for me, I can only speak for myself, but there's no issues as far as any of that stuff goes right now.
Last offseason, you came in, you got the splitter. I think the year before you refined the slider. Did this one feel kind of maybe like normal in the sense of just like going about your business, what a major league routine looks like?
Yeah.
What from your perspective is your winter like?
Yeah, it's a good question because there was a few days right after the season where honestly I was kind of giving myself headaches because I'm like, you can only reinvent yourself so many times. You can't just scrap everything and start over. And I feel like I have most of the pieces that I need right now or, last season. So a lot of it, like you said, is routines. Location, of course, is always going to be the biggest thing, consistency in that location. But there's only so much you can do as far as refining and tinkering. And I think it, a little bit more maturity comes the sense of knowing that you don't have to keep tinkering just to feel like you got better. So it's kind of a balance for me right now.
So you're not adding a knuckleball or anything like that? You're not going to throw anything out that we haven't seen?
George kind of tempted me with his at the last game of the year, so who knows? Might have something.
But so what you do a good job of self-assessing your strengths and weaknesses. When you got done, you had your time to think about your season. What did you say that you're going to do this offseason? Was there any goals in mind, or is it just maintain?
Some of it is strategy in my pitches and where I want to go in certain locations, how those work better. My main thing for me last season, looking back, was I did better against lefties than righties, a little bit better. So trying to focus more on how I can help myself against righties. And then my fastball got hit harder than it was in previous years. My off speed ticked up, which you guys probably remember a couple of years ago needed to get better. Fastball regressed a little bit. So now it's trying to get both of those back at the same time.
How do you feel about your overall pitch mix coming into this year, though? The splitter, I mean, the slider that you added recently, and it's just like the total package that you have.
Yeah, I feel better. I feel like I have more options this year. And the main thing is just not getting yourself boxed in, especially in this league. Hitters are always going to perform better, but I have to really find a way to get myself out. If I get myself in a jam or guys on and I'm behind in the count, being able to get out of that, and I think I have the weapons to do that now.
Just how big of a weapon did that splitter become for you last year, especially against lefties?
It was huge, yeah, especially 2 strikes. Trying to see if I can use it more in different counts this year a little bit. But it helped a ton. It's such a different look. You see it with other guys as well. George really came along at the end of the year. His was really, really good. Excited to see Bryce's as well. But I feel like hitters just don't see it a ton, so it gives yourself a good chance, especially if you haven't shown it till the end of the at-bat.
Did you see did you know Bryce was going to work on this, or did you see the videos and was like, oh?
Yeah, we were talking about it at the end of last season, and it's not really a great idea to add it kind of in the middle of the season, just the stress, or nobody really knows how stressful splitters are. But it was something he was going into the offseason working on, and we texted a little bit throughout the year. I saw his grips and everything he was posting online, so it looked pretty good.
Well, how much did the complete game? Those don't happen as much in big leagues anymore. What did that tell you about how you can pitch at this level, or what you can do? I mean, the efficiency of it all, but you were still getting strikeouts. What did that tell you about?
Yeah. It says a lot. It's like you said, it doesn't happen a ton anymore, and I've always looked up to the guys in the past that threw 250 innings, and the old timers that went CG like every time. So it doesn't happen as much anymore, but when you give yourself a chance like that, it says a lot. Just like your stuff can play, especially 3-4 times through the order, which nowadays it really doesn't happen as much. You get to the leadoff batter 3 times, and people might start getting warm in the bullpen or whatever it is. That's just kind of the nature of the game. But I love being able to go deep in games. I think that says a lot about what you bring to the table on your day. You see it with Castillo all the time. So I want to be that guy and kind of see myself in this league as that guy.
The offseason started, some guys were traded away, but then all of a sudden they started to add pieces. You're not managing guys move, whatever. When you sit down or you enter spring training now, what are your thoughts on all the stuff they've added? I mean, obviously some guys are gone, Robbie, Chopa, Jared, Suarez, but they've added a lot.
Yeah, that's first I'll say a lot of good guys left, so that's tough. A lot of guys I'm really close with, so the team, it's tough to fill their shoes, but I think we have different guys that not really trying to replace certain players, but just like we lost a few and now we're adding different ones that bring their own strengths to the table. And every trade or acquisition I got more excited about. So, we got like 2 or 3 guys, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to look really good. And then towards the end of the offseason, we kept adding, and then got Polanco and got Santos, and like we're actually looking really, really good. So I think we have a really good chance. I think the front office was really creative in how they did it, because I was like everybody else trying to guess on my couch at home what we're going to do, and it was not at all what I guessed, but I think it was even way better. And so I think they did a really good job and put the pieces that we need to go deep.
Among that guessing, would you say that you might have been surprised to get here and see that they were able to keep all 5 of your starters together?
Yeah.
It's obviously a big area of strength on this team and potentially something that they could deal from.
Yeah, I think that's huge, especially with the young starters. Everybody wants them, and Bryce and Will really proved themselves last year. I thought people would just be offering so much that it would be really hard to keep them, but I'm really happy we did, because everybody's seen what they can do, and that's really rare to have that. So the fact that we could add so many pieces and keep our starters together, I think, like I said, I think we have a really good shot this year.
You were in the position a few years ago where you come into spring training and they're monitoring, they don't want you to get ramped up too fast. They're doing that with them, they did with George last year. What advice do you have to them as they're, you come in fired up, you want to start the season, but at the same time they're telling them, hey, we got to wait a week and
Yeah, everybody's antsy and excited. I'm probably the last guy to be able to say any of that, because I probably do way more than I should, but I've learned every year. I'm backing it off a little bit every year, so I would say I'm getting better. But I'm excited to see what they can do, but also tell them it's such a long season. They're probably going to have 40 more innings or whatever it is this year, and I'm sure felt what it's like last year. So really just being able to pace yourself, especially with so much excitement at the beginning of camp.
How did you feel at the end of last year? Because I think when you came into spring training, coming off the playoff appearance, you were admittedly gassed, I think is what you said when you got here. How did you feel at the end of last year, though?
Yeah, I felt good. I think I paced it out better. The off season is a big part of that. Kind of learning how long the season really is and then what you need in the off season. I went basically on the same schedule I was on, so I feel really good about that. I think you learn a little bit more every year, and for me, between games is the biggest part. The bullpen's the in between, getting what you need but not really anything more. A couple years ago, I think a big reason was I was trying to create pitches during the season, so I was getting a ton more reps that I didn't need on my arm. Last year, I didn't really have as much of that, so I felt like I was in a better spot.
You added any more implements to the big duffel bag? You added anything?
I did, actually. A different water ball, a mini water ball.
A mini water
So I
ball?
have my normal water ball, I have a mini one. It's for arm care exclusively, but my dog goes crazy for it, actually. I don't know what it is. The newest chew toy in the house.
So he takes on, she takes on that.
She takes it from me and runs.
Well, Scott talked about it, but like, he said you're disciplined, like when you're out there doing it, and Ty's making fun of you, JP throws the water ball away, they're all doing that. You just kept doing it. Like, how do you it's probably easy to tune Ty out, but like, how do you do that? Because like those guys, baseball's a weird dynamic in the clubhouse and stuff.
Yeah, it's almost a little personal branding where they kind of know that's me and I know that I'm going to get made fun of for it, and I kind of just roll with it. I kind of like it. Could be way worse things. I've learned to tune Ty out, so that's not as big of a deal. JP is a little harder. He can get in my head sometimes, but it's all for fun, so it's all good.
They said you fire back a lot more than you used to.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't believe him on that one. A little bit here and there, but all right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.